Okay, we're back. Guess what? It's Tuesday night. That must be Fearless Flight Live. Welcome, everybody. This is the place to go if you're afraid to fly, if you know somebody's afraid to fly, or you just like to talk about airplanes and stuff. The chart here, this is a North Atlantic plotting chart. And that's to remind you, don't forget to sign up for our Overwater Masterclass coming up on February 2nd. And not only will you get over your fear of flying over the water, but you will also be able to plot and rescue your crew should they get lost in the middle of the North Atlantic if you're flying to Europe. Yeah, we're gonna take a good look. We got some great stuff here. Eric and I have been working on this, and all the questions that we've been getting from you all, things you want to know about that. Eric, by the way, could not make it tonight, but thank goodness I got Dieter, because without Dieter, we ain't anything. So Eric, for whatever reason, he thinks he needs to get paid now and then, so he goes to work. So he's on a trip or in the hotel somewhere, but it was going to be a conflict. And we're going to show you how to plot. We're going to show you all the secret tricks for how to make an overwater flight, and how to why you don't have to worry about it, because we do all that worrying. I find it one of the most interesting things about aviation, because so many people are bothered by two things about flying over water. One, the fact that they're over water, because they wonder what's going to happen, what happens to them if something happens to the airplane, and we're going to cover all that. And the other thing is just what to do for that much time. So, oh, and by the way, I got my new snazzy earphones here, and I take off my glasses here, and somebody is going to win one of those. So this is a Bluetooth sleep mask. I found this thing on Amazon. That's where. And this is the greatest thing. I particularly love audio and books, meditations, anything, you name it, and I love it. And I love it, particularly when I go to sleep at night, and if I wake up in the middle of the night. There's some really cool apps out there that help you go back to sleep. And this thing is the best. It's got Bluetooth in it, and it's got earphones or earpieces built right into this thing. And I thought, this has to be a piece of junk or something, but it's really comfortable, and you can sleep in it. I've tried to sleep with my earbuds in it before, and it is kind of difficult, but because they make your ears hurt after a while. But this has little speakers built right in here. You can adjust it to go right over your ears, and the best part for me is it's easy to operate. Okay, it's got instructions with it, and it's easy to operate. It's got little Bluetooth control here, so you can go on and come off, and it's just the best. I know I get excited about the littlest things, but this is really cool. And we got a challenge for you coming up, and Dieter wants to put it up there. We thought, okay, skip the poll question. We got a better one tonight. We got a picture that I found, and I've actually used this in some of my classes and webinars. So we're looking for the best caption on this. Now you got to think fear of flying. Okay. So this is a challenge. So you got to think, you got to look at the picture. Obviously a lady in her senior years, as if I should talk, and with a wedding gown on, and there is a caption that already comes to mind. I'm not going to say mine, but anyway, we want you to come up with something that's relative to as if she were a fearful flyer in one way or the other. And so whoever gets the best caption, we're going to award one of these sleep masks next week to the lucky person who gets the best caption. So we want to have a little fun tonight, and we'll bring that thing. We'll bring the picture back up.
What's really important? Are we? Let me see if we're sharing here or not. Yeah, we are sharing. The picture is up. So
yeah, it's up.
I just want to make sure that if you are not watching this live, you have from until our next show, which is, our show is every Tuesday at 6:30 Pacific. So you even if you are coming to this video after we're done with our live show, then please put that caption in where our whole team will look at, and maybe we might even create a poll at the beginning of the next show.
Yeah,
and
make it a contest.
And let you guys vote for the best caption. And,
I like that better, Dieter. That puts it out there. So so we'll create a poll for next week. And
I already got a good one. So David, hey David, David said, okay. Oh no, in caps. Here we go again.
Yeah, there you go. That is good. That is good. So,
oh, that's awesome.
Okay. Cool.
Oh, okay. And 𝗓𝙩, hey 𝗓𝙩, I'm so glad you made it on. 𝗓𝙩's it's a good one too. I need that dress to hide under for my upcoming flight. So
okay, hey, we're going to talk about that. I see you signed up for a coaching appointment. Good for you, 𝗓𝙩. I'm looking forward to you. Pat yourself on the back for having the courage to do that. We're going to talk on Thursday, it looks like. So I'm really looking forward to it.
We're gonna pull this. We're gonna share this picture a little bit later in the chat.
We'll pop it up there. So
sure.
Okay, so there's some things in the news here. I don't know. You want to do that, or you want to talk about the some of the
well, just go with
okay.
No, just go with the news, and in the meantime, I'll find that email.
Okay, there's a couple of things. One on the more serious side, just the 737 MAX is in the news. Matter of fact, Dieter and I were looking for flights for the 201 class in May today, and we've noticed that normally, flying from Phoenix here to LA or to Las Vegas or something, we normally have a whole range of options because we do the class in the morning, and that's going to come up on May 30th, and we normally go to the class in the morning, and then middle afternoon we jump on the airplane and go to Las Vegas or Los Angeles back. And we notice there's a big gap in there. Like some of the places, the last time they leave going to either one of those is like noon or something, and we can't make that because we won't have time to get to the airport. So we did find a Las Vegas flight there, but we were theorizing that it's really showing up in a lot of, like Southwest, for example, without those 737 MAXs, in the ability to put them into service, they've really had to lean their schedule out in some places where they had a lot of frequency, like Las Vegas and LA markets out of Phoenix here. So I don't know that for a fact, but having been in the industry for 30 years, I can imagine what it's doing to their schedules. Because normally they when they bring in new airplanes like that, every so often they retire old ones as well. So it's probably put a real clinch, and those new airplanes have a lot more seats on them as well. So, but this article talked about how it's not just impacting the airlines in the ability to have seats available. It talked about leasing and putting other airplanes into schedule and the revenue loss and all that. I think we talked about a couple of weeks ago that American Airlines won a lawsuit with Boeing for the delays, and they decided to pass it on to their crews. There's another thing there. I think Dieter, if he hasn't, he's going to put into the chat box. There's a link. You got to look at this. It's called Crazy Things Passengers Do During Flights, but it's really a composition. It's a video with music to it, just still slides, kind of like the Ken Burns effect. And it is just so heartwarming to look at it. It's got all these service animals that people have, including a pig. They got a turkey in there, but you got to just take a look at that video. And it's about 10 minutes long. So when we get done here tonight, I recommend that you go right over there, click on that link and watch it. Particularly you, 𝗓𝙩. That'll take your mind off of it for sure. It's just really, really a warm and friendly video there. And here's another article. I'm not going to go into the details, but two of them actually. One on window seat rules. It was kind of a clever article, and we'll put the link in the show notes for that on who gets the window seat. And that's always a funny thing for fearful flyers, because I'll talk to people who are afraid to fly, and some of them say, I got to sit by the window. Or because I can't sit on the aisle. I don't want people climbing over me. I got to be able to look out. And then they'll have other people that say, I can't sit by the window. I can't stand to look out. And they'll pull the shade down and all that. And I got to sit on the aisle because I got to be ready to get out and all that. So
the only thing that everybody agrees is that the middle seat is kind of like drawing the short straw.
Right. Yeah, we used to call it the dreaded middle seat. If you were a dead-ending crew member, usually they tried to literally get us an aisle or a window. But if it was a last-minute trip cancellation or something, and we had to get on unexpectedly, you were going to sit in the dreaded middle seat in uniform and answer all kinds of questions about from curious people on both sides. So anyway,
but and also I don't know. I think we never really got to that. Every year there's a show about airplane designs and all those companies that are and supporting. And so they have actually this year come out, and I think it won the show for best innovation in interior cabin design or something like that. So basically, they have, instead of all 3 seats being the same, so they have them staggered, and they have these flaps that come forward or out of the seat, so it gives you some extra privacy. Now, I really don't know outfitting an airplane probably is a pretty costly venture.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
So I'm kind of like not holding my breath that I'll see that on the next Southwest or American.
And I'm thinking for the middle row, if they have more confinement, that'll make the middle seat, that'll make it even worse. So now that if you're claustrophobic, you definitely won't want the middle seat. So
yeah, exactly.
Okay, don't take my cue, anybody. I'm not saying that you should take that attitude, but I'm just thinking, interesting. And last year, I think it was, or the year before, and I've never seen anybody put into service, but you remember we actually had a company that was designing seats that you could stand in. You remember that?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And it had to be somewhere like Japan or with people of smaller stature or something like that. But it was crazy. It's like those roller coasters when you stand up on them,
You know what that reminds me of, Ron? That reminds me of the Nintendo Wii. They had this great idea of making people exercise while they're playing video games, which is a great idea. Except people who want to play video games really want to play video games. And people who pay for flights, I think they really don't want to stand.
No kidding.
So I guess that we should really, I want to ask that question to any of you who is watching that. Would you pay for a flight and then, be standing? And when I say standing now, it's kind of like a little bit like in an amusement park, like a roller coaster ride. So you have
it's like kind of like stacked together.
Yeah. So
I mean, literally, it changes this. The seat pitch is what they call the measurement between each of the seats there. I mean, it really brings it down to like that, And it was kind of a half standing thing, like your knees would be bent a little bit. But I can't imagine doing that for any length of time, because you certainly, I mean, it's bad enough, the dreaded middle seat. If you drop something on the floor, it's staying there until you get to the gate. So if you drop something off that, you're going to need one of those things that the trash collectors use, with the stick, with the grip on the end of it.
So that's just talking about the seat selection. So because obviously that's a really 𝗀𝗪 is still. I hear you, 𝗀𝗪, and she doesn't want to sit in any seat. So, so maybe the standing option would be the one that might be the best.
Quick to get off.
But
we need to give you the cockpit seat, 𝗀𝗪. I guarantee you, if you could sit in the cockpit just for 15 minutes on that flight, it's an entirely different experience. So anyway, we'll talk on Thursday.
So then we have Jeremy. Hey, Jeremy. He said, I don't like the window seats or the back of the plane. And well, I definitely don't prefer the back of the plane just because the vibration and it's louder. And so I hear you on that one. So he said for the next 4 flights, he booked seats by a window and back. And so he's basically challenging himself to, sit at the window and get used to it. And I really want to bring this up. Like we sometimes talk about it flippantly, but one of the powers that really helps you get over it is something that we obviously incorporate when we do the live classes, and that is exposure therapy. That means fear of flying, you could literally be okay for your entire life if you have made the choice never to fly, never to go near an airport. You probably will not experience any kind of anxiety or any fear. Why? Because there's nothing really there to project onto. But then if you do want to get over it, you will feel uncomfortable. You will feel these sensations. And I am the first one to tell you that feeling those sensations is exactly what we need, because we need to rewire, and we can't rewire when everything is, you're lying on the beach and it's all good. We really need to rewire when we are in these anxious states. Maybe you want to talk a little bit about that, Ron.
Yeah, your amygdala has to be activated before you can change the way you think and change the neuron pathways. So what Dieter alluded to is that you really, that's why medications are not the best long-term solution if you truly want to assimilate to being on an airplane without the anxiety. Because when you take the benzodiazepines, for example, they actually work directly on the amygdala and they dull your sense of anxiety, and so it's kind of put to sleep, and not unlike if you're drunk, you can't function normally when you're under the influence like that. So yeah, you have to have your amygdala activated before you can actually change it due to exposure therapy.
And I just want to reach out to hey Nicole, thank you so much for joining us. And maybe 𝗓𝙗, since you're on, but anybody who is watching, and just say, what is the number one trigger that really brings up all of that anxiety? And I understand, after a little bit it becomes everything, but is it turbulence? Is it takeoff? Is it just the fact of being in an enclosed space, hurtling through the atmosphere at 500 miles an hour and you can't get out? Is it the trust in pilots? Don't you trust the pilots, for example, that they will perform?
When we do the trigger exercise in class, we've got a sheet that's got probably 50 of them on there, like that, and the point is, that's where you start. That is where that is probably one of the most reliable places to start if you're trying to work through your fear of flying. Is what is it that triggers you, either feelings or thoughts? And the thoughts usually go right into a story, and the feelings go right into, oh my God, I can't stand this. But both of them lead to obsessive thinking and compulsive thinking, and you get caught in a loop and you can't get out of it, and it's just like spiraling right down a drain. And so you've got to break that loop. That's why we use the harmonizer so effectively, because you've got to have something that disrupts. It starts by distracting you, but ultimately it's disrupting that thought. And two things I wanted to bring up tonight, that we're working on some new audios, meditations for everybody. That's why I wanted to bring up my little sleep mask there. And that is ruminating, and what's the other one I told you to do? Rumination and catastrophizing.
Yeah.
Okay. Those are two big things for anybody with anxiety disorders. Is one, you tend to catastrophize. You make things work. So part of what we do when we coach people is we have them identify the trigger, and usually what's the catastrophic thinking that leads to, or if you're having a trigger that generates a feeling, what kind of catastrophic feeling does that lead to? And then you start ruminating on that. And both of those are effective strategies to break catastrophic thinking. So that usually takes some education, and look at the fallacy of your thinking, because most of the thoughts that come up, the catastrophic thoughts for fearful flyers, are absolutely no way possible that they're going to happen. But no matter what the thought is, people start ruminating on it. And ruminating is like, I'm gonna die. And pretty soon you believe you're gonna die, and you've got to break that.
And so thanks so much for putting in your triggers. I mean, we really got everything. We got claustrophobia, we got turbulence, we got medical issues, and so that that kind of shows the range, turbulence and stuff like that. Oh, did everyone or will everybody do their job properly today? So that's another one of these of the triggers.
That brings up trust.
Trust. And really what's key, let me just read. Valerie, hey Valerie, she said, number one trigger, trust in someone else, trusting the security agent to scan all the luggage, trusting the people in the tower, trusting the pilots, trusting. And, I think ultimately it does come down to trust in every single way. Like when I do sessions with couples or sessions with people, the number one thing in a relationship is trust. It's the most sacred kind of basket, I want to say, in which the relationship can be nurtured and grown. And obviously there's a lot about flying on the mechanical side, lack of knowledge, right? Like we don't know what Ron knows and what Captain Eric knows, and all that the pilots have to go through on a continual basis. We just hear the dings and we go, ooh, what is that? And or the door is closing and we're thinking, oh my God, what if somebody tries to open the door? And no matter how impossible these things are, they cause real feelings and real sensations. And obviously on the other side of the spectrum, it's being scared of being overwhelmed by your own thoughts and by your own feelings, having a panic attack, having heart attack. Like we had one person who was really genuinely scared of worrying to such a degree that that they would suffer a heart attack. So, and from
let me say something about trust. I just want to talk about you and me, Dieter. I want, and I'm going to not talk to you for a minute. So you just close your ears and stuff like that. I'm going to tell the group out here what a great guy this guy is, and Eric as well. But Dieter had the misfortune of running into me online a little over 3 years ago, and I'm telling you, I'll probably tear up with this. He is such a great person, and he has been through thick and thin with me. We both have a passion about helping people. We want to get this out. We want to be the #1 source for fear of flying, and this is going to be a big year for us. And we've had some tough times just between us, and I'm telling you, this guy is the best guy on the planet for sticking with me when it's tough and when we're trying to get things to come together. And I have pressed him with unbelievable deadlines. The book, it's amazing that he stuck with me through the book. So I just wanted to take this moment to tell you, trust is amazing, because when things go south in a relationship, I mean, we can be doing clicking, and all of a sudden we both, and we end up, we're both on the same side, but just sometimes it seems so different, and I'm here to tell you, trust is really, really important. And I just wanted to take a quick shout out to say thanks, Dieter. I really, really appreciate you.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. And you're right. It is the glue that really, keeps us in a healthy, flowing relationship. And Nicole, by the way, has a great caption for the image. And it says, my caption for the picture, another one bites the dust.
Hopefully that's fear of flying, that her fear of flying bit the dust because she's going on her honeymoon or something. So one other thing I wanted to say about trust that who Valerie was talking about, who was it that was talking about? And that is the thing about it is when you look at airline operations, it took a lot more trust when you got on the airplane, even as recently as 40, 50 years ago. But as we've gotten into the jet age and all that, I taught for the last 20 years of my career, I taught something called human factors. And that was where we looked at the two people, how critical they are. So if Dieter and I were flying, captain and first officer, we talked about how important it is when you get on board that airplane and you haven't worked with this, haven't met this person prior to an hour ago when you meet face to face, how important it is for you to be a well-oiled machine together. And the airline training does a great job doing that. But the other thing that we had been missing over the years is making sure that both parties felt safe confronting the other one, not necessarily in an angry way, but just making sure that everybody knew what the other person was doing. And we found that we were really lacking on that. But we've been so successful. That's one of the big contributors to why airline safety is so safe today, the airline operation stuff. So anyway, so trust, I understand how it's difficult. Is there any other place where you so demonstrably give up complete control and trust to a complete stranger like me? I mean, that is scary, but you have to know that that's why in this day and age, all the time that we've had, I just thought of another webinar I want to run, and that's going to be the 10 worst crashes and what they've added to airline safety. And you might think, what is he doing? But no, that's the thing about aviation. That's how we've got so safe, is because we've been willing to look at our mistakes, and we've been willing to learn from them and make changes for the future. That's why it is so safe, particularly in the last 15 years. And so anyway,
I just want to, no, that's great, because to me, 𝗓𝙩 just put a comment in, and I don't want to single you out, but I actually want to acknowledge you, 𝗓𝙩, and I want to really celebrate you for your courage, because the fact is, it's that courage that ultimately will help you get over your fear of flying. And
absolutely,
what she said, Ron, was just simply that she listened to the harmonizer and it made her throw up. And so of course, naturally, I would start to wonder, oh my God, am I the worst fearful flyer on the planet? And all I'm gonna say, because I know you're gonna have your free call with Captain Ron later in the week. All I'm gonna say is, just you being here, you could do a million things right now, and probably almost a million of them would be preferable to feeling all that anxiety, just us talking about different aspects of flying and bringing that stuff up. So just the fact that you're here is super powerful. And I want to, one more little thing, because it comes up all the time. So something triggers us, and then we have, maybe you have no thoughts. Maybe the feeling just is so fast, it's so quick, because you practiced it, so to speak, over time. But the key really is not to continue now to beat up on yourself just how bad you are. If you can just, and that's the mindful aspect that in 2020 we really want to bring front and center, because that truly is the key. Like, I want to just make this our book on Amazon. It has a lot of great reviews. And by the way, if you do have the book, please take a moment, go over there, write a short, honest review. And if you like other reviews, just click on whether that's helpful. And if you don't like a review, you can say not helpful. But this past week, we got a 1-star review. And it's just like a dagger into the heart. If you knew our process and how long and how thorough and how sincere we were in creating the journey for people that we don't even know, to give them what they need. And the review is actually not very insightful in terms of, it said it's a sales pitch or something like that. And if you want better information, at some other pilot's book that's out there. And I thought, after obviously feeling hurt, because I know where my heart is, I know where Ron's heart is, so I know that we had taken great care and great, focus to create the book in such a way that both somebody on the beginning of the journey, as well as somebody who, has already recognized that the pain in their brain or in their body or whatever is not caused by the plane. It is caused by their relationship to whatever it is that is their trigger. However, we don't really know where somebody's at. So wherever this person was at, that's how they felt. And it was pretty obvious that they didn't really read the book. They probably just kind of flipped through it. And all I wanted to really make sure that is that the book, for example, provides another one of those resources that you can physically take with you. If you're a kinesthetic person, just having the book, we got so many great emails and feedback that people are giving us about that. And if you have the book, let us know or put it in the comments.
Do let us know.
Yeah.
And Dieter, I mean, I felt Dieter took this harder than I did, man. But what he did, another thing that I'd like to compliment him for is what he did is he really made a constructive response to that and said, tell us something that we can work with or we can change, and one of my quick reaction to it was one of my frustrations with all the books out there on fear flying. They all talk about the theory. They all talk about, a lot of them are written by pilots who've never dealt with a fearful flyer and certainly doesn't have any background in psychology. And they just think because I'm crazy about flying and airplanes and all that you're going to naturally pick that up. No, it has nothing to do with airplanes. It has to do with, with anxiety that's triggered by flying. And so and the thing that the person I think was complaining about was we have links in there. We have interactive links, which some of them we're developing even as we write. But this was designed to be interactive so that you wouldn't have to put the book down and then go Google things that we've made reference to. You can click right on the link if you've got the Kindle version, or you can put your iPhone up there and take a picture of the QR code, and that will open it up on your iPhone. It's really designed to be interactive and growing and a living thing. We wanted this so that we can make that book not be obsolete in 6 months. And
also, granted, how do people read? If I'm into, let's say my thing is flying over water. Okay, that is the thing that really gets me going and really gets my anxiety jumping. Then I don't necessarily want to read about other things so much. I want to dig deeper into that. And obviously we couldn't write like a book with 500-600 pages because we wanted to keep it practical so that you could just slip it in your carry-on and take it with you. So and the truth
is nobody reads big books. It really is. People, there's surveys out there. The average person, the average number of books read every year by the average citizen in the United States is 1/2. I read nearly a book a week. So I'm telling you, somebody's not picking up their share of the load out there, and so it's pathetic. And in most books, people never get beyond the table of contents or the first chapter. So what Dieter is saying is really, really a great way. We wrote it so that every chapter stands on its own. You can pick it up and read it from wherever you are, going back and forth and all that. And by all means, Dieter mentioned this, which I never thought of before. When you write a review, just read a chapter and write a review on the chapter. It'll be much more helpful for people reading the book than it will if you try to summarize your review for the whole book. So anyway,
Melissa, thank you so much. She said, I liked the book. It was short, sweet, and to the point. And you know what? That's great feedback. Thank you. I appreciate that.
We weren't going for the Pulitzer. We were going to help people who are afraid to fly. And frankly, for the first whack, and again, my hat's off to Dieter, because that was a goal of mine for many, many, many years. And when right at the end, if you knew how I disappointed him, you would wonder why he's even still connected to me. But anyway, we really are. Hey, put up the picture of the lady again one more time for anybody who's just joining us there.
Yeah.
And so we're running a caption contest. We're about to sign off here, but we're running a caption contest. So whoever comes up with the best caption for that picture. Try to think of something that would be appropriate in the context of overcoming your fear of flying. And we're gonna next week. We're gonna have you, the viewers, pick the winner from all the captions that we have coming in, and we're gonna give you this super duper Bluetooth sleep mask. It's a sleep mask with 2 earphones in it, and it's Bluetooth connected to your device, so it's completely wireless. You can I actually sleep in this thing every night just about, and it is a mask, so it provides me. I'm very light sensitive at night, and I tend to get woken up in the morning, and it's just really, really super handy. It has this Velcro band on the back, so it adjusts easily to anybody, and it has this little plug-in where you use it to charge, and then you pull it out when you're ready to use it. Get your iPhone or your Android device, click on it, and you're connected. And believe me, it is something, when I say it's easy to connect, I'm not kidding you. And I thought, this can't be worthwhile. It's only 20 some bucks or whatever. And but it is really, really, really cool. And you may have laughed at me last week because I took it out on my bike with my bike helmet, but it didn't fit in my bike helmet all that well. So
if Captain Ron says it's really easy to connect, I can vouch.
Oh my God, you can bet it's easy to connect. It's almost as easy as flying an airplane. So anyway,
okay. So
all right, what else we got here and to do?
Honestly, I was just thinking of something. So I want to read an email we just got earlier today, and I'm just gonna, while I'm reading it, I'm gonna put
that'd be a good way to close it.
Yeah, that'd be a perfect way to close it. Because we don't really have, or I didn't have a chance to obtain permission, I'm just gonna not mention a person's name. So basically, that's a picture that he sent, and he says, "Hi, Captain Ron. I hope this message finds you well. About 5 years ago, I took your Fearless Flight class in Los Angeles at Air Hollywood. I hadn't flown in over 5 years, and as a result, had missed out on multiple job opportunities, as well as family gatherings and vacations. I booked for both the class and the flight on the next day. I was feeling optimistic right after class, but overnight, I found a reason to miss my flight with you all the next day. I was ashamed and disappointed in myself. I had the necessary tools, but still I decided to let the fear win. Several years passed by, and I continued to be paralyzed by fear, missing more flights, jobs, and vacations. And then finally, in December of 2017, with a trip to Texas booked for the holidays, I found and I reviewed the notes that I had taken in your class years earlier. I'm not sure what it was, but something just clicked. I suddenly felt a surge of confidence that I hadn't felt in a very long time. I wasn't ashamed to be afraid to fly, and I decided that this time I wasn't going to let fear win, even if I was a bit scared. I was going to do it anyways. So on December 20th, 2017, I flew for the first time in 8 years. And since then, I have flown many times, including the long-awaited trip to Hawaii to celebrate our 10-year wedding anniversary. Sure, there's still a little bit of trepidation when it comes to flying, but using the tools that you provided and taught me renewed my confidence in myself after that first flight, and I'm ready to jet set around the world eventually. Anyhow, I've been meaning to write you to say thank you for what you do and the service you provide. It really has changed my life for the best. Thank you from the bottom of my heart.
And that's why we do this. Honest to God. That's why I can't believe at 72, I'm still doing this after 32 years. And it gets even more and more fun. And while we were talking, we had Melissa bought a harmonizer. Yay, Melissa. I'm telling you, you know, if it doesn't work, we'll give you your money back. But that is the most successfully used part of it. And I think
thousands of people.
Thousands of people. You got to have something. If you don't do something different between your last flight and your next flight, you're going to get the same results. And usually they're worse because all you've done in the meantime is ruminate and catastrophize, either about something going wrong with the airplane or about something going wrong with you, and you lose control. It is not going to happen. I'm telling you, we've worked with thousands of people over the last 32 years, and you're going to get over it just like this person did. Please, please do not give up. And hang in there, Shally. One last shout out. I can't wait to talk with you on Thursday. So.
And I just want to end with one more thing because you've mentioned it, and I'm going to just share it. Our Flying Over Water Masterclass, which is on February 2nd. So that's a live online class, and we're going to do it at 10 a.m. PST, so 10 a.m. Pacific or 1 p.m. Eastern time. And the link is there, and I'll put the link later in the show comments as well. But basically, if you're flying in the next 30 days, you know, that class is really because it's not just flying over water, but that will be the main focus. And I know somebody in the comments, Ron, said that their #1 trigger is flying over water. So I will put the link there.
Yeah.
And on the screen.
We never just talk about what we talk about because and when you register for the masterclass, don't just register, send us your questions because we plan that. So we've got content, we've got the content squeezed in there, and then afterwards we're going to have Q&A. So do not, you know, and if you think you might not be able to attend or you have to leave early, don't worry about it because you're going to be entitled to the replay.
Yeah.
Okay. So and we've got some great master classes coming up, and we've got some great webinars coming up. So stay with us and keep those cards and letters coming, folks.
All right. Well.
All right. And we'll make you major overwater plotters there. Honest, you're going to have a blast. You're going to find out. It's going to make it so simple. You're going to say, "Oh my gosh."
And isn't Captain Eric going to be on the
yep.
And he flew for many years, right, to Hawaii and back. So if you want to have your question answered by somebody who has flown over water to Hawaii and back, God, probably many more times than he cares to count, then this is really the opportunity to do so.
Yeah, I taught it. Eric flies it, and we've got a great show for you coming up. So thanks for coming tonight again. We really enjoy having you. Thanks for everybody who put in comments. It really makes our work a lot easier here. And thanks for the Melissa for the sale tonight. And keep coming back. So we'll see you again next week for Fearless Flight Live. Have a great week, everybody.